or we just wait for another couple of minutes and we'll start. Okay, so good evening, everyone. My name is Roshan. I'm the Chief Marketing and Growth Officer for Shift Technologies. Thank you for taking your time out to attend today's panel discussion on AI in smart factories and process automation. This panel discussion is hosted by Shift Technologies in association with Talentezo. Shift Technologies is a global technology brand positioned to serve businesses elevate their capabilities in AI and agentic process automation solutions. And Talentizo is a pioneering AI learning and development company dedicated to upskill professionals, enterprises, and schools by integrating cutting-edge tools, education, and mentorship. Today's panel discussion is estimated about an hour, followed by a Q&A session towards the end by 20 minutes. However, the moderator will pause during the discussion to take questions from the participants to the panelists. Today's panel discussion is moderated by Ms. Megha Punia. Ms. Megha is an ex-Indian Air Force officer turned transformational HR leader. She brings a unique blend of military discipline and corporate acumen to the boardroom. With over 18 years of experience, she brings a strategic HR and change management expertise to inspire leaders to build a resilient and forward-thinking organization. Before we start, a quick housekeeping announcements. All participants will be muted during the presentations to avoid any background noise. Please feel free to post any questions in the chat box or raise hands. We will address them during the pause or Q&A session. This session is being recorded, so we will be sharing the recording to all participants after the webinar. We hope you find this session insightful and valuable. Now I'll ask Ms. Megha to start the panel discussion by introducing the panelists. Thank you.
Thanks, Roshan. I'll just quickly now introduce the panelists. So we have Manish Srivastav with us, who is CEO Compworld. He has over 20 years of experience in software development and AI. He has been working on AI, agentic AI, generative AI. These are all words for him, and his great work would talk. He founded Compworld and had been into the field for more than 20 years now. Then we also have, welcome Manish.
Thank you. Thanks, Megha.
All right. We also have with us Lieutenant Colonel Harendra Bana. He comes from an ex-army background. He's an ex-army officer and he's a corporate security leader with 37 years of experience in the domain of security, investigation, CPM, audit technology. His expertise lies in fine-tuning human interface with emerging technology to deliver resilient and cost-effective solutions. He has been recognized by USA Embassy for his contribution to the security fraternity many a times. Welcome, Lieutenant Colonel Harendra Bana, to the panel discussion.
Thank you, Megha. Thank you so much. Thank you, and welcome to all the panelists, please, and the attendees.
Quickly coming to the topic, AI in smart factories and process automation. So my first question goes to you, Manish. When we talk about smart factories and role of AI in process automation, you provide an overview from a technology standpoint that on smart factories and how AI adoption is bringing this shift in manufacturing and process automation.
Correct. Thank you, Megha. I would like to define that smart factory is essentially a factory that has been given a digital brain. So in simple terms, it is highly digitized. It has connected production facilities where machines, sensors, and computers, they all talk to each other and make some decisions on their own. That is what a smart factory is. So in order to bring this smart into the factory, that is smart factor into the factory, what exactly we use? We use technologies like artificial intelligence, robotics, and Internet of Things primarily. So they help us monitor and run the operations with minimal human intervention, wherein machines are smart, they are able to take a lot of decisions on their own, and human intervention is less needed. So think of it as a moving away from the old assembly line approach where we used to have dumb machines to an intelligent network of devices. So what are the key characteristics of a smart factory? The first thing is visibility. We are able to see what is happening in real time. And the second is connectivity. So everything is connected together. We have data sharing among different devices and a certain level of autonomy. So systems can self-adjust themselves, they can optimize themselves, or they can alert human being when it is needed. So that was a very theoretical, definition. Let me give you an example. Like in one of the industrial plants that we worked with, we installed a performance analysis dashboard. So that dashboard can pull data from dozens of sensors across the facility. So suddenly the plant managers have all the critical metric in real time on a mobile phone and on the web interface also related to the various commercial operational parameters, temperature, pressure, or vibration of different machines, the output rates on a single screen. So this kind of visibility means that if one part of the plant is lagging, they can notice it immediately. Now that was basically allowing you to monitor what is happening. Once you add AI to the mix, then you can make the system even better. The system can learn what normal looks like. And if something is, on the verge of some anomaly or it is changing in a way that it can result in some problem, then once the system has learned how things behave normally, it is able to flag anomalies in advance. Say, for example, if a particular compressor was running hotter and is vibrating more than the usual, then even subtle changes which are very hard for us human to detect will not be able to catch our eye or attention. But AI was able to do that. And it turned out that some bearing was wearing out. And since AI was able to flag it early, the team fixed it before it actually failed. So that prevented a costly unplanned breakdown. So in industries, the unplanned failures that occur, they are a big, roadblock to the production, and they also result in a lot of financial losses. So this is a big shift from the past, where you would typically wait for a machine to fail, and then you will rush to fix it. In smart factories, we move to predictive maintenance, wherein sensors are there, artificial intelligence is there to identify problems before they actually cause any downtime. In addition to this, another area I would like to talk about in relating to smart factories is many, just not the preventive maintenance, but also the quality of the product that is being built or the quality control. So traditionally, quality checks were manual. People will go and inspect the products visually, or they will take measurements, and it's always slow and it is prone to human errors. Now imagine artificial intelligence powered camera systems. They are there looking at the production line, acting like very, vigilant and tireless inspectors. So we have solutions where camera watches the products and then AI model checks for the defects in real time. Like say, for example, in a consumer goods factory, this kind of an AI vision system can catch even very tiny, small cosmetic defects on products like, let's say, packaging or bottles, which human inspectors often miss. It can spot things like irregular shapes, minor scratches, or changes in the color, or at a very high speed, thousands per second, or so on. So this kind of system does not only improves the quality of the products, but imagine how much freedom it is giving to the people from a monotonous and tiring work of staring at the assembly line or the products all day. And they can instead focus on something more creative, solving something more complex, which we would like to do. So overall, AI adoption is making factories more efficient, safer, and more flexible also. The processes that used to take hours earlier now can be done in seconds. Say, for example, there is a sudden change. Say the demand for a particular product has increased in the market. So the smart factory is able to adopt its production schedule on the fly, sometimes with some kind of an AI assistance, and it can accommodate that. So in one case, we have seen AI system was built. So it is able to optimize the energy usage with increased focus on net zero and also pressure on the industries to become carbon neutral and optimize their energy usage. AI systems are helping companies, industrial plants optimize the energy usage because they can, plan the production based on the energy prices. The energy prices also vary during the day. So we have peak hour rates, off-peak hour rates, and also we have supply of sustainable or you can say renewable energy available at certain times of the day. So plants which want to utilize that renewable energy, they can produce more during that time. And based on the energy prices, they can optimize the production schedule. So these kind of applications, these kind of solutions are getting deployed into industries. So this type of agility was not possible earlier. It is only with smart factories and AI we are able to have this kind of flexible operation of industries. Also, it is helping workforce, it is empowering the workforce. It's not just, there is a lot of talk about job losses and job changes, job description changes with the onslaught of AI. Of course, that's another topic to discuss upon. But I believe that rather than replacing people, it is augmenting, AI is augmenting them. A lot of routine tasks can be automated, and human workers can actually work on the real-time insights that they get from AI, and they can take better decisions with the help of AI. So that's one part. So I would like to sum up that a smart factory is smart because it continuously learns and optimizes. AI is the driving force behind this shift because it is enabling predictive maintenance instead of reactive fixes when you actually address to a problem once the problem has occurred. It is able to give you instant quality inspections. It is helping you bring adaptive scheduling to the plate and much more. And the results that we are getting with the early adopters, the organizations who have already adopted these are, compelling. So AI-driven predictive maintenance can cut machine downtime by as much as 30 to 50%. This is a proven report. And this is huge in terms of cost saving, in terms of productivity. And also, I would say that the convergence of AI with manufacturing is kind of transforming the industries from a static, rigid workflow to a more dynamic, self-improving and self-correcting kind of a environment. So that's really exciting because in industrial production and process automation, the AI is now there on the shop floor and it is helping organizations in a big way. Yeah.
So thanks, Manish. That was pretty insightful. In fact, this has touched the 360-degree domain of how, different scenarios. Your example was perfect. And coming from you who build these solutions for some of the few known names in the industry, we can surely say that, AI is actually empowering. It's just the right approach that is needed. So coming to you, Colonel Bana, so you have spent a decade in the FMCG sector and previously Indian Army and IT sector. How do you see this evolution from that edge? And what are your views on the pace of adoption of AI?
Thanks, Megha. Are you asking me this question because you started by saying 37 years service? So you actually feel that I've actually seen the evolution being the oldest in this group and baby bloomer. So Actually, absolutely yes. If you look at the overall perspective, that let's take a mind back. Today, when we talk of AI, the first thing comes that now we have a new thing, which is in addition to whatever other things we've heard, Chat GPT and a lot of other things. But I'll take your mind back to a time when things had just started, and some of us who are actually maybe the millennial generation and later, which is post 80s, that's the time when the computer started actually coming on the horizon. And 87 is when I actually saw my first computer. That was in an office in the Indian Army, in my office. And when this actually came in, it was treated with great awe and complete concept of that we don't know what it is. And when we talk of adoption, we talk of evolution. Again, the same thing happened. Uncertainty. We were not very sure. And then gradually the computer started getting into a mainstream life. Let's move a little forward, and then people like us in the army had to travel only by train, exclusively by train. There were no flights. And when we were told that you have to use, now you could do your bookings, and a lot of Indian army is huge when it travels, and we had to get our trainings and reservations done through the computer. The first thing that actually came to our mind when we were looking at this adoption was that when we reach the station, would we genuinely have a reservation, or we would be without a reservation? Let's move a little forward and come to that specific date, which we all, some of us would recollect as 31st December 1999, an extremely significant date. And then when we talk of the evolution, it comes back to the point that how many of us actually predicted that everything will come crashing down. And we weren't sure, the global leaders who were the technology geeks were not sure of how the world would move, how the next day would wake up, and things were very, very different. So the things that, if you look at evolution, if you look at the pace of adoption of AI, the things that come to my mind with this backdrop is things will remain unsure. We will be unsure. There will be a certain amount of uncertainty. Unsure and uncertainty will also create a certain amount of unfounded panic. Now, the word is not panic, it's unfounded panic. It will, because we are not very sure ourselves, we would tend to look at a sense of mystery and suspense of what it would. And this is where it brings us to an opportunity of learning to upskill ourselves, learning to learn where AI is going to take us, because it's another very simple example that when we started using, if I were to ask my father to use an ATM card or a debit card or to do a UPI transaction, he would absolutely not be able to, even relate to it. But today, everybody, even the local man who actually sells things on the street, also uses it. So that's where the technology takes us, and that is where the evolution part comes in. If I were to look at the adoption part, uh, from a very basic standpoint, if I may look at it, three things that come to my mind is the mindset. We have to change our mindset. It's extremely important to look at the mindset. Second is the mindset will only change once we do trainings and once we learn to, adapt to the new technology, which somebody would have to walk us through. Not everybody would be technology savvy. And the third part would come to cater for the budgets for it. So these are the three things. Evolution. If we could get adapted to computers, and generations before me had absolutely no idea about what computers. 70s had no computers. Today we are fully into computers and we are doing a Zoom call. I don't see why we shouldn't migrate ahead, and it's the next stepping stone. Thank you, Megha. That's where it is.
And that's
Megha, back to you.
that's again pretty insightful. Yeah. So it takes me back to my days in Air Force also, from where we started, and how we've seen the transformation to my time in corporate and now here. Yes, with AI, the last man, if any kind of a setup, here we're talking about a factory setup, if learns to use and adapts to this, how to make life easier with AI, and it can be a really life-changing scenario. Now, coming back to you, Manish, when we talk about this shift, how do you place it from a solutioning perspective as a tech leader, that we have problems that are being identified, and then we have to, every industry is in at some point somewhere in their AI adoption chart. Then where do you see that, solutioning comes as the best fit in this kind of a scenario?
Yeah, that's a great point. As someone who builds AI solution for industries, I see tremendous opportunities, but I'm also mindful of the risks and challenges which are there. So I'll try to tackle both from a very practical solution-driven approach. So on the opportunity side, AI is like a toolbox which is full of new tools, new power tools for manufacturing, I would say. It allows us to solve problems that were really hard to crack before. Say, in terms of improving the efficiency, I talked about preventive maintenance, so we can reduce the downtime. Also, there is a significant, amount of saving that can be made. It's not just about predicting when the machine is going to fail. Sometimes we have maintenance schedules, and we keep maintaining a machine, say, every year, even though it is not needed. So AI can also tell us that this machine is working so well that it doesn't require annual or 6 monthly maintenance. You can increase the time between the two maintenance cycles and you can save money. So that also is a benefit, I would say, which is not there in the traditional approach. So, and if it is able to predict in advance, definitely it is a great saving, because we are able to replace the part or address the problem before it actually occurs. And we have seen that, especially we work a lot with energy companies, and if there is a shutdown of a particular unit, say if a 500 megawatt power generating unit of a thermal power plant shuts down without warning, and then it is like around, say, $500,000 spent to restart it, to check everything and then restart it. So any kind of such forced outage is a big trouble, big cost to the industries. And that basically saves the money. That is one part. The other part is that it can change the maintenance culture also. So the culture of firefighting, from the culture of firefighting, we can shift to the culture of planning. The another opportunity that I talked about is the product quality improvement, consistency improvement. AI can adjust the parameters. So it is not just about inspecting with the help of cameras if there are scratches on the mobile phone that are being manufactured in the assembly line. AI can even instruct the machines to make suitable changes to make sure that these kind of quality issues don't arise, right? Say in a steel processing unit, we have observed that AI is able to notice the thickness of the product. And if it is drifting from the designed value, it can nudge the machine's settings to change and correct it automatically. So this will result in less scrap also and less rework also. Also, I would like to touch upon the safety part. AI is a safety opportunity also, because there are a lot of places where it's very unsafe for us humans to work, or the conditions are not conducive for a good, working there. Like it's very hot, or maybe it is having a lot of dust and so on, or ash is there. And if the worker is too close to such a kind of unsafe situation, and then it becomes a health as well as a safety hazard. So in those situations also, AI is basically helping us, uh, human build a better quality of life inside the industry or inside the factory also. Now that was about the shop floor, all the machines and aspects related to inspections, machines. In addition to the shop floor, a lot of business is transacted inside the office. So you are taking decisions, you require data. So AI is opening up the opportunities in the offices as well, in the industries, not just in the shop floor, but in the offices also. So it is helping in decision making, it is helping in innovating, it is helping in design. We can, use the data that is being captured from machines, and we can analyze them, find patterns, and we can an example is an energy company that we worked with. So they used around 3 years of data we analyzed to find out patterns, discover opportunities to save cost. And there were certain equipments that could be run for a longer period of time than their expected life. So these kind of opportunities arise with the data that is there. And if we are able to deploy AI to learn from that data and give us insights. So it provides a lot of support to management in the different functional areas based on the data that it has got, and then insights it can give them to help run the overall factory in a more efficient manner. Now, another area is knowledge capture. We are hearing a lot about generative AI. Colonel Bana also mentioned ChatGPT. So with ChatGPT coming on the scene in 2022, everyone has become, everyone has ability to, touch and feel AI now. And this generative AI revolution, of course, we'll discuss maybe if time permits, we'll discuss more on this. But this can help us preserve the know-how of the experts. Industries have a lot of experts who are working since long, and they are in the stage of retirement, especially in manufacturing industries, which were set up like 70s, 80s. So sometimes what happens is the new engineers, new technicians, when they face any problem, they look for these senior people for guidance. And they have so much of knowledge working in the shop floor for long, handling all kind of issues, that they are a reservoir of knowledge and they can quickly point you to the right steps. Now, with generative AI, it is possible now to capture this collective knowledge, collective wisdom of the employees, document it, put it in the form of a AI model which has learned from that knowledge, and then it can be made available to all the employees, even the employees who have joined. From day one, they can have this AI assistance available, like a experienced mentor who is always there available for them. So that is also one great application of AI, especially the generative AI that we are seeing is making inroads into industry. Now that's about the potential. Now coming about the risks and challenges. The first point that we need to understand is that the data is the lifeblood of AI, or you can call it data is the food on which AI lives. It needs data to actually work. And many organizations we have seen are struggling on that front. Not every company has properly, organized data, which is clean, well organized, operational data from their machines, or even data related to their other functions like finance or marketing or sales, which may be connected together for building a AI model. Also, we have a lot of legacy equipments. We have a lot of old machinery, which is not having sensors, which is not connected. There is no data being captured. And even if the data is being captured, the frequency is not the right one, or maybe the data is siloed into different systems and it is not available in a single, you can say, platform where AI can be connected. So that's the biggest challenge that we are facing, that the data infrastructure is not ready. So many a times the organization has the willingness to go for an AI implementation. They try for a proof of concept or a pilot, but then they are not able to scale that pilot up to production because of challenges related to the data availability. Either it is not available, or it is not sufficient, or it is not properly structured. So if data is not there in a proper shape, AI's recommendations won't be reliable. For example, we have faced this problem. We tried creating a predictive model, the very early model that we tried to create, but it failed because we realized that there are a lot of critical parameters which are not being measured. And if you don't have availability of, say, suppose there is a machine where airflow is very important parameter, and there is no sensor to measure that airflow. So if we are creating a model based on the data which is not essential data not being present, that model will not work. So that's the biggest challenge I have seen. So we learned from that experience that data validation And system integration is a major part of the solutioning effort. It is not just, going up with the most interesting and the shiny AI model and then claiming that we will solve your problems. We need to see if we have the foundation ready, the data is there or not, and whether we have pieces to connect together so that AI can get the data and then can really be insightful. So it's not very simple, like just go and plug the AI into a factory and then things will start becoming rosy from day one. So often you have to invest in upgrading the sensors, you have to establish connectivity, and you have to ensure that the IT and the OT, the operational technology systems, they talk to each other properly. So that is one big challenge that we have seen. Another risk is like over confidence, or I'll say over reliance and trust. AI isn't infallible. So we know that AI can make mistakes. So in the factory context, a wrong prediction or a false alarm can have big cost. If AI model, suppose it predicts that failure will not happen, and then suddenly the machine breaks down or shuts down, that's lost production. That's a huge cost. On the other hand, if it is like not able to catch something, and then it may give a false alarm, like the machine is going to fail even though machine is going to work normally, that also will result in unnecessary maintenance cycles being performed. So now the point from a solutioning perspective, the question is how to mitigate this kind of risk. So I believe that right now, the level at which we are, we need human in the loop. So I always advise the clients that treat AI as the assistant, not as a replacement for human judgment. Don't delegate your decision making, your oversight to AI for now. Maybe after, say, 5 years from now, we will have a very intelligent, super intelligent kind of AI, because every company is talking about it, artificial general intelligence. And we may reach to that stage, but we are not yet there. So we tell the clients that we want your engineers, your operators to verify what AI is saying, use their experience, use their caution, and then take decisions. Don't let AI take all decisions right now. Now, once you feel that AI model is giving the right predictions, and then that trust builds, and then once the model has proven itself, you can automate more. So that way, that is the right way to go. So right in the beginning, you can't trust it. But most of the models have a feedback loop wherein if AI makes mistakes, you can give a feedback, and then based on it, it constantly learns and performs better. And the moment comes when it matches your expectation, then you can leave more for AI to do. But you should never, blindly trust an algorithm out of the gate. So that is one challenge, over reliance or over trusting. If AI is there, then we can simply delegate it everything. And the third thing is that I'll come to the human angle. Workforce adoption is a big challenge. I mean, we have seen Colonel Bana talked about the days of the computerization. So I have faint memories of, bank and insurance staff coming on the roads protesting against the computerization. So that was also, the change is always hard. And we are witnessing a big change. And of course, resistance will come, adoption will be a challenge. People have fear also that AI will come and it will, displace us from the shop floor. AI will take away my job is a big narrative. So this is a risk because if people don't use a system or don't like to use it, then even the greatest AI solution will fail. Implementation will not be successful. So we have seen that happening in a industry where, production planners were skeptical about the AI. They still like to do the things the old way. And then you implement a tool, the company spends money, and then the tool is not used. So as a solution provider, we also feel bad that we created something with so much of, interest and so much of hard work of our team. And the customer has paid also, but people are not using it. So it is a big problem. And of course, change management, training aspect comes into the play. So we that trust needs to be built. That management buy-in has to be there in terms of spending effort on training and change management, and also giving the people the confidence that AI is not there to replace their jobs, but the quality of their life will improve. Their job will become easier. The hard part will be taken care of AI. It will give you a lot of assistant. So once they see that, then they can actually, come on board and they can start using it. And they become receptive also. So lesson from that experience was that human factors and clear communication are just as important as the tech. Tech alone is not, the remedy for any efficiency gains. Also, one more thing which is a challenge is security and privacy, especially as we are getting more and more connected. We are seeing in our personal life also, the newspapers are always filled with news of cyber crime, financial crimes, and digital arrest, and so on. Since we have become more connected, we are more prone to all kind of security threats for in personal life. And once you connect your factory also, then you are potentially having greater exposure to cyber threats. So imagine if someone hacks into the smart factory system and they can disrupt operations, they can steal sensitive production data, and things like this have happened. I mean, cyber attacks have brought down entire energy grid in certain countries. So any AI adoption has to go hand in hand with robust cyber security measures. Similarly, if you're collecting data about processes, data about workers, you need to handle that data responsibly and in an ethical manner. So in solutions that we build, we always include access to controls, encryptions, and we work with the client's IT security team from the day one to build a solution which follows the best practices, the standard frameworks of security. So I think that's a long answer, but finally I would like to summarize that uh, the risk of hype versus reality is there. AI is trendy, and it's easy for the leadership to say, let's implement AI everywhere without a clear plan. I've seen companies, starting too many pilots, but they never scale those pilots. So we call it a POC or paralysis. And from a solutioning standpoint, it's always better to prioritize certain use cases with clear ROI, start small. Otherwise, you risk spending too much of effort and money on experiments that won't really translate into actual value on the shop floor. Also, sometimes what happens is that in a lot of CIOs, they have got mandate to implement AI. And then they run the risk of choosing the wrong problem to solve. Sometimes people come up with, kind of use cases which can be solved by simple Excel spreadsheet. You don't need AI, a fancy AI solution for everything. Sometimes even a simple, program, a small software or a simple automation can do that. So we have to be, mindful in choosing what is the right problem to solve with AI. So AI just not for the sake of AI, it should always be driven by the real need, real opportunity. So I think that's what I wanted to say, Megha. I think I gave a very long answer.
No. So these inputs were required, though I was about to ask this as a next question. But coming back to your role as a CSO, or for that matter, if you talk about any business head, Colonel Bana, that what do you see? Like we have solutions from a technology standpoint. We'll have multiple solutions to a single problem, but every company would be having its own ecosystem already in place. So, if you talk about your role as a CSO or what you see other business heads, the challenges that they are facing in this implementation, wherein the factories or the companies are already in some state or automation, and there are a few subsystems already in place. So, how would you see that as a challenge and a potential risk? Colonel Bana, this question is for you.
Thanks, Megha. So, Megha, I'll not specifically look at, although the topic says that smart factories, but with my background, 5 years Microsoft, 3 years John Deere, which was manufacturing, and 10 years with FMCG, which is one of the cola companies. So if I look at all the three and my 17 years career, so let me just start by saying it's going to be a great opportunity for us. It will be, there will be challenges to, like exactly what Manish said, there will be some challenges to adapt, there will be some pushbacks, but the greater thing is that by and by, this generation actually is looking at a new, has greater understanding of technology. We have smartphones. We are more technology enabled than what my generation was. So keeping that in mind, this adoption would be faster, easier, a lot more seamless. Will it help security? Absolutely, yes. You go to any company, office, anywhere. You go to a bank, you go anywhere. The first person that you would see is a security man. That man has to be enabled. He has to be proficient, and it will not happen in one day. He will learn to do it. Things will improve, the quality of life will improve, work-life balance will improve. The mundane jobs that a security man today has to do will reduce. AI will help us. Again, one point which Manish brought out very importantly, that AI is not going to replace us, but AI will help us foster easier decision making, easier management of entries, specifically entries into the factories, which is very important, seeing that everybody needs to be at the shop floor in a certain timeline and to move out when the shift changes. If you look at the challenges, very basic three challenges. First, always I just come back to the point, is budget. We need a budget. We need, for anything to happen, we need a budget. Second is, we need to look at the legal framework. While we step in and move forward, each company has its own framework, has its own guidelines, and what may be good for an Indian MNC may not be good for a US MNC, would be different for a EU MNC. We need to look at the legal frameworks. And the last but not the least is the local issues in terms of union labor force. Because as soon as we get in something which is new, the first thing that comes to our mind is my job is on the is going to be become redundant. And that's exactly why I love the phrase which I read once in New York, which was written on top, that I'm going to get retired, so robots can't take away my job. So that's exactly what happened to me. So AI is very positive. We are looking forward to it. It will help us. And if I say it at my age, then we all need to look at it, and it's going to be a seamless integration for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Colonel Bana. This was important. It was a pre-submitted question also, because ultimately it's the business head or the vertical heads, the responsibility lies that they ensure that the system is secure also end to end, and they do it in a manner that serves the purpose for all. And that is why, as previously also we spoke, that training and implementation need to be moving hand in hand and not the other way around. I'll just take a pause here. And there were a few pre-submitted questions also, and there's one question here that I see in the chat window. And I think it's for you, Manish, that participants would want to know that what are the types of technologies that are available for data collection besides ERP, sensors, RFID, and barcodes? If you can elaborate a bit on that.
Yeah. Data being the foundation of any system, on top of that AI can be built. We have very standard, you can say that data can be generated by a variety of business transactions. So we talked about sensors. So in the factories, the data that machines, we are measuring the data of the machine, the physical parameters like, say, temperature, pressure, airflow, vibration rate, and so on. So these are the physical quantities or physical parameters being captured by sensors and then converted into data and then going into a system. Every human activity is generating data today. So we have data coming from our ERP systems. We have data coming from stock exchanges, we have economic data coming, we have data. I mean, every human activity, if you talk, say, for example, a factory, then they have their marketing and sales systems. So wherein a CRM is there. So CRM has all the data about the customers, their orders, their geography, and so on. Then they have different suppliers, different vendors. So data relating to that, data relating to, say, economic activity. Even for building a model, you won't just rely on the data within the organization, but you have to take the data from outside also, because when you plan something or when you want an algorithm to predict something, say, for example, demand of the product in how much is to produce next month, then you will not just look at what you produced in the same month last year. You will also look at various economic indicators, various, trade wars that are happening, and that data we need to have. When like we built a system which is for monitoring of power stations. So I am just giving you that as an example. It has 19 different data sources. So one of them is the actual power plant, but there are 18 other sources like ERP systems, power exchanges, then load dispatch centers, which decide how much electricity is to be generated. Then there are some government portals from where the data is streamed. So I can say there you can always have myriad, different types of data sources. The challenge is how to stream that data in, as real time as possible, bring it all into a common platform, make it all relatable, and then feed it to your AI model. So that is where the data engineering and the data architecture thing comes up. So with, that this boost in the AI implementation or AI projects that we are seeing in last 2-3 years, the field of data engineering, data architecture has got an impetus again. So we had a lot of data analysts earlier and data engineers. So data analysts used to hog the limelight. They were the ones who were giving insights. Now AI is able to do that data crunching and analysis on its own. It has become very simple. So that data analyst role is slightly, getting shadowed down, and the data engineering and data architecture is coming to the fore because of the reason that you need good data foundation, data lakes, and data warehouses to basically build AI on top of it. Yeah.
So thanks, Manish, and I hope Emmanuel it answers your question. And if you have any further, you can type in the chat, and we'll take it as webinar progresses. So Manish, here you've mentioned generative AI, and you've been talking about prescriptive to predictive, how the shift is taking place here and there. Could you elaborate on how this technology is moving beyond the hype and creating practical value in the industrial settings? Though we have spoken briefly, but if we can move on to the use case or a demonstration part, it will really be helpful.
Sure, absolutely. So generative AI, I think everyone is familiar with the name. If not generative AI, then at least ChatGPT, which kind of, brought generative AI to the scene in November 2022. And it was, if you compare the adoption figures, then ChatGPT was it had the quickest, 100 million users of any other technology platform, be it Instagram or Facebook or WhatsApp. ChatGPT was the quickest to acquire 100 million users. So what is generative AI? It's AI that can create text, images, and even designs. So before this, we had AI which was doing primarily, prescriptive AI and predictive AI. So it can either predict when a machine is going to fail or when it is going to rain, or it can prescribe that this is the ideal route to follow. This is the optimum, production schedule. So that was predictive or prescriptive AI, which has been there since long. Generative AI is relatively newer, but it holds a lot of promise. It is something which is creative. It can create software, it can create text, it can create images, videos, it can create engineering designs. And we all have been generating for last few weeks Ghibli style art work also. So you can see that the capability has been improving tremendously. from the time, if you tried DALL-E 1 model, which ChatGPT used in the early stages, like 2022, the quality of images was so bad, it was not at all usable, to something, so beautiful images people are creating today. So generative AI is progressing very fast because everyone has realized that the world is changing. Generative AI is something which will disrupt or change all the sectors of economy. And there is a big race among, big players like Google, OpenAI to come outperform and outcompete and come up with better models. And that is actually increasing the rate of improvement also. It is improving very fast. Now, the big question is, how can it help in a factory or industrial setting beyond all the hype? So in other words, how do we make it practically useful on the shop floor or in the engineering office? So we have already seen it actually moving from buzz to real-time value. And one practical area where I would like to talk about is knowledge assistance. So manufacturing companies, energy companies, they deal with mountains of information, not just companies, even we individuals, we sometimes find it very hard to, find out a particular document or particular piece of information in our own computer. It takes us a lot of time to, go through different files and folders which are there. So as an individual, we are keeping so much of information. The large organization, they have truckloads of information, or you can say mountains of information, which is there. These are machine manuals, standard operating procedures, maintenance logs, safety guidelines, government and regulatory guidelines, design documents, and whatnot. And these are mostly spread across thousands and thousands of PDFs, databases, presentations. And for an engineer or for an operator, you can imagine how hard it is to get to the right piece of information, find the specific answers. This is where generative AI is actually shining by acting as a intelligent knowledge assistant or knowledge scout. In fact, we have a solution and we named our solution Scout for this reason. So let me explain with an example. Imagine that there's a shop floor and one individual engineer is facing some problem with a machine. Say some reading is abnormal. So either they have to call a veteran colleague for advice if he is new and is not able to figure out what to do, or if no senior person is available who can guide him, they have to go to the manual and find out by looking at, first finding which was the right manual out of the 500 manuals that they have. And then once they zero down to a particular manual, going through maybe 200 pages and finding out the right information. With a generative AI assistant like Scout, they can simply ask a question in natural language, like what could cause this kind of a trouble? And they can get an immediate, concise response drawn from the knowledge contained in all those maybe 500 plus manuals, each running into hundreds of pages. And those documents may contain SOPs, the past case histories and case notes also. So it is like having the collective knowledge of your most experienced experts and the entire documentation at your fingertips, and that also available 24/7. So we built a solution Scout for scenarios just like this. And the technology is not science fiction. It uses the same underlying technology as ChatGPT, but it is tuned to the company's own data and own terminology. The key is that it should be grounded in the company's verified information rather than the open internet, because the answers that are generated by this system should be relevant. They should be trustworthy. Because if you have, I think we have a problem called hallucination in AI models, wherein AI models have, been seen that they sometimes make up facts. If they don't have the right information, they create some facts which may not be correct, and then they present that as output to the users. So while building this kind of a solution, it's very important that you build the right guardrails, right governance framework, so that the answers are confined to the boundary of knowledge of that organization or that particular equipment that you're talking about, and it does not uses its own, past training data or the data which is available on public domain, and provides an answer to you which is not precise. So this, if it is done in the right way, it can save a lot of time. It can save you digging, through different files and folders. And this can save around 90% of the time it takes to search for information, because you don't have to do any search. You just ask the question, and within half a minute, it may take a few seconds to half a minute to just provide you the answer. And the answers, another thing is that how to make sure that the answer is correct. So some kind of transparency or, that traceability is also required. So a good AI system should have that transparency also built in, or explainability, that what we call. So when you get an answer, if you want to know that how AI arrived at that answer, it should be able to show you the approach that it has used or the sources that it has used. So that backlinking to the information, whatever has been, utilized for creating the AI response, is very important for people to trust AI. And as I mentioned in response to the earlier question also, that right now we are at a stage where we have to treat AI with caution. We have to use it, but we have to check the output, and then feedbacks are built into the system to give feedback if AI makes any mistake. And then once you give that feedback, it will take note of that. We can use that in retraining the model every quarter or so, or monthly, and then improving its performance over time. So this kind of efficiency gain is beyond hype. It's real value. It's happening across shop floor, across different industries. So now I would like to transition you to show you this tool, because I think a demo will be more useful in terms of understanding what exactly is possible today. And this is something which is on the cloud, so I can demonstrate here. And the idea behind is to make this concrete. A lot of talk may sound abstract, but a demo can actually help understand and put the right context. So I'll just share my screen, and I'll fire up an instance of Scout and try to ask it a few questions and show how it works, how it helps me. Give me a moment. Let me know if my screen is visible.
It is visible.
Okay. So here I am. This is Scout interface. Anyone who has been using ChatGPT will find this very similar, and we have intentionally kept it like ChatGPT because we are all used to ChatGPT, so we don't want to have that learning curve. We have made it for mobile devices as well as web interfaces. So suppose I'm a plant engineer or a plant technician, and I face some problem. Say, for example, I'm working on the boiler area, and I can see that there is ash, accumulating in the boiler bottom area. And I want to know what are the right steps, how to clear it, what are the right SOPs to be followed. So I have access to, say, multiple workspaces. We can create workspaces. So I can go to boiler manuals, and it has boiler manuals available here. I have added few of them for demo purpose. I can click and open the manual. If I want to go to a traditional route, opening the manual and then looking at the information visually, but I'll try the smarter route. So I'll ask the question. I can see ash. I can see ash accumulating in the bottom of the boiler. What steps to take? I can talk to AI also. Instead of typing it, we can click on the microphone and speak. So now it is at the job, it's giving us few steps. First is immediate action. The second is de-hashing process, then inspection, and so on. So we have a complete, response here, and this information is well structured. And at the bottom, you can see that it has given you 3 citations also. So we can click to see the documents from which this information has been derived. So AI has composed this answer by looking at multiple documents, finding the relevant information, using its common sense and the training or the fine tuning that has been domain specific fine tuning that has been done to the model, and then giving you a response. For verification, you can click and you can open this document, and it will take you exactly to the place from where the information was picked up so that you can verify if you need so. So this is how it works. I can ask a follow-up question, or if the answer is long, I can ask it to summarize this into a shorter answer also. And so that is how it works from the user side. From administrator side, I will open the admin dashboard. It has ability to create workspaces. So I can create, say, another workspace related to, say, turbine, unit 1. And then I can create that workspace, and I can go and upload files into this workspace. And individual users can be given permission, like say, I want to allow this user Elena access to this workspace, so I can provide access to role-based access can be provided to specific users. So when they go into the tool, they have access only to the workspaces that they are allowed for. It also has ability to handle revisions in the documents and amendments in the documents, which happen all the time. So when you upload a new file, suppose I go and pick up a file, then I can specify whether it's an original file or it's a revision of some older document, or it's an amendment to a document. So if it's a revision, I can specify which is the parent file, which is the parent document, the revision this has to connect with. So that is how we have created this solution. And just a quick demo, the idea was to give you an idea to understand for yourself how these solutions can be helpful in industries. So I'll close the demo here.
Thanks, Manish. That's why we say a demo always works when we get the look and feel of how a solution would really work in an actual use case scenario. So I'll come back to you, Manish, with another follow-up question on this product, and I come back to you, Colonel Bana. That we have products, we have AI agents, we have solutioning there in place, and the pace of adoption is also it's moving at its pace. But if I have to ask you, about how, if we talk about the Indian security ecosystem, just for an instance, then how prepared we think are we to embrace this change? And if you can talk about the critical factors that also we need to consider for a successful implementation of solutions like this that are available to make lives easier for even the last person in the system, to make his work even more efficient, more having solutions that are more accurate, and if probable timelines also you can talk about. So Colonel Bana, this question is for you from a industry user standpoint.
You mentioned critical factors, so
Yes.
it's best understood if we talk of some data points, and I'm quoting directly out of HBR, Harvard Business Review, September October 2023. And I said, let me just have a look of where things are, how things should evolve. And I said, let me not look of what it is today. Let me look of what was predicted 2 years back, and just try and visualize what did those people 2 years back have to think about it, and where are we today. So today Manish can actually give answers of where we are today, but 2 years back the critical factors mentioned that we will see a job loss of 14% with new technology. We are not talking of AI, we are just talking of new technology, and AI is a plus of the new technology. So they predicted 14% job loss. They predicted the job roles, the JDs would get altered to as much as 32%. So what does it say? It says 14 plus 32, 46%. So almost 46% things will change with new technologies. The next interesting thing, extremely interesting, is the half-life of a new skill set. If I joined the army and I learned a skill set in my first year, the skill set was good for me till my 20th year or maybe the 30th year. I did not have to change. The same was with you, Megha. When you learned radar operations, they were the same, except the technology improved. But if we look at the skill sets in a corporate environment, the average half-life is only 5 years. What you learn today will go redundant in 7 to 8 years. So what does it mean? We would have to continuously keep upskilling, both individually and from a company standpoint. Budgets will have to be relocated to it. The two important words that have come to my mind and when I did my research and tried to understand this and look at the risk part, the risk to companies, the risk to our own jobs, the risk to our own salaries, the risk to everything that is around us. Two things which come up is upskill and reskill. Extremely important. Let's upskill and reskill. There is at whatever point we are, there is a functional responsibility that we have to ourselves and a manager responsibility too. And the last and the most important thing when I bring out the critical factors is that the core company strategy today for any kind of a new technology is going to be reskill in the flow of work. Important thing that you don't have to shut down, go to school, start learning and do everything again. Work will not stop, production will not stop. It is simply that reskilling in the flow of work. It's as simple as that. That's exactly what's happening on the factory shop floors. And we are going, there is no two ways. It's not that, are we going to adopt it or not? That's not the question. We will have to adopt it if we have to stay relevant. And to stay relevant, we need to upskill and reskill. Thank you.
So very briefly and nicely put together that, upskill and reskill and embracing the change is, of course, what is needed. Otherwise, we'll be left behind in operations. Just being mindful of the time, I've opened the floor to questions. If anyone has any question, either can raise their hands or can type in the chat and submit. I have few pre-submitted questions, and here, as we were talking about what are the critical factors. So one question for you, Manish, is also that where do you see that every as we've spoken about few ecosystems that companies are already having in terms of technology. So if we talk about any AI agent being deployed, so at that deployment stage, they'll have their own language models, they'll have their own cloud spaces, and companies would be somewhere maybe in the beginning phase or in the middle. So how easy you think that if someone has to implement Scout in a industry setting of a plant, how easy is the deployment can be? How easy can the deployment be?
Yeah, that's a very pertinent question, and this question gets asked very often when we talk to our customers, that where you will deploy, whether it will be on the cloud or it can be on our premises, and what will happen to our data. Will you train AI models, and will these model providers, they will use our data to train their model, and our private information will be leaked. So these are some very pertinent questions which require consideration when talking about the deployment. So specifically about Scout, we are providing two different models. One is cloud-based models for organizations who are comfortable to have the data flow to cloud. Of course, all the cloud providers, leading cloud providers like Microsoft Azure or say AWS, they have enterprise plans wherein it's there in the terms and condition that the data that will be flown to the cloud will not be used for training of their models. So all the privacy controls are there. So there are certain organizations who have provisioned their cloud spaces and AI models also on the cloud. So we work with them to deploy this solution also on the cloud, and it connects to their data. and then the model that we have provisioned. The other approach, there are certain organizations who want it to be entirely on premises. So how we have designed this system and all the other generative AI systems that we are building, they are LLM agnostic. So we can utilize an open source LLM also, or we can use a proprietary LLM. So we have done deployments which are completely on premises. You can even connect that server from it, disconnect that server from internet, and still it will continue to give you this kind of a generative response. So primarily we are then suggesting them to go with the right GPU server and deploy open source model like Meta's Llama 3 model, which is quite popular. Llama 3.5 is quite popular. And then Scout can very well work on premises connecting to that open source model. The second thing is that connecting with the data. I demonstrated uploading a file manually, but in enterprise scenario, this may not be the most efficient way. So we have connectors wherein, your enterprise data stores can be connected to Scout, and the data can flow directly from your store to Scout. So that is the kind of like two models that are emerging. One is cloud and the other is on-prem. And a good solution should, cater to both the scenarios, and that is what we have tried to build.
So there's another question, probably, why, if these solutions are easy plug in, plug out, and at any stage the deployment can happen in the right approach if it's taken, then why India as a country, if we talk about region, India as a region, that why are we moving with caution in AI adoption?
I mean, I think with any new things that comes up, AI adoption, it has happened with computerization, it has happened with different things. But here I see that there are a lot of concerns and a lot of unfounded concerns also. So when I talk to a senior leadership, I see that they don't have clarity about AI, the kind of clarity that is required for the senior leadership to have. So one reason is that a lot of learning is required, lot of training is required, and it is not just about an average worker or an employee who has to do the job efficiently, but the senior leadership also requires, the right training and giving them the right perspective. So that is one part. The other part is that a lot of regulations and regulatory regime is also coming up in India. We are coming up with data protection regime. We are talking about different regulations. So things are a bit fluid now. But I think the early adopters, I was reading one news just 2-3 days back, and India is the leader in agentic AI adoption. It has the highest, rate of adoption among all the countries in the world. So I think we are moving there, but we have a huge, challenge in terms of basically, I think leadership is maybe they don't have that technical idea. It's not required, but having idea about how to carve out the right use cases and allocate budget, drive that initiative from the top so that people are willing to adopt. I think that requires some work, and we have engaged with customers on that front also in terms of designing programs for workshops for leadership to give them foundational understanding, give them idea about how to where the specific technology fits into their scheme of things, their way of working, and how to drive that initiative. So I think more of that is needed at the moment.
And coming back to you, Colonel Bana, outset of the same question, that if we have to look at it from a security challenge or risk per se, same question from a security standpoint, then where do you think stand, or where do you think that we see us?
We don't see it as a challenge. We see it as an opportunity. There would be no challenge here. And people who look at it as a challenge, I think the challenge will be with their own jobs and their own securities. Adaptation is extremely important. You don't have a choice. You have to adopt today, tomorrow, today. Can we go back maybe 30 years and say that I won't adapt to computers. No, it can't happen. You're within the computers. You are the computer is part of our ecosystem. It's part of the DNA. Emerging technologies, new technologies will become part of our DNA. We've got to adapt to it. We've got to learn it. We've got to move forward. So there are no challenges. There are opportunities. The sooner we get imbibe them, and me at my age of 60 plus, if I'm trying to make an effort and reading on it and reading books to learn what AI is, I think everybody else can do it. We have to do it, and there's no other choice. It's a great opportunity. It's going to make our life nicer, and the world's it's good that we can move forward willingly rather than being forced into it. Thank you.
That's very aptly said. And again, an outset of the same question, if we are open to change, and Manish, mainly maybe from a technology standpoint, this might be for you or even both, that there's a question that says that are we able to make an ecosystem for innovation? The answer to this is yes, we are doing it. But what is lacking, as in we are not making Googles or Chat GPTs. So any inputs on that? Because I think we are. If you can just give few
That's a very
examples, Manish.
different, yeah, that's a very different debate why we are not making Googles or ChatGPT. I think if you talk about India, then traditionally our software industry has been software services industry, not a product focused. We have not been a product focused company. So there are multiple reasons. There could be multiple reasons for that, and that can be a very long debate. But it's not about that we don't want to do it, but maybe we don't have the ecosystem, or we didn't have the ecosystem to, promote those kind of organizations or startups. Now, very recently, venture capital has become available in India. Earlier, it was not there. Whereas companies like Google, they were founded, 26 years back, and they had no business model in place. In fact, whenever the investors used to send a CEO to put a CEO for, bringing out that business angle to the company, the founders, they used to reject the CEO because they didn't want any supervision, any, kind of business angle to the company. They were just focused on creating the best platform for, compiling the whole knowledge of the world. But in India, you can't imagine 26 years back, someone investing and backing a company which has no business model is not at all keen to make money. So I think the biggest problem, the biggest reason, what I feel is we didn't have the ecosystem to promote product startups, which do not generate money in the short run, which have a long gestation period, which are R&D focused, and they may come out well, they may fail also. So that kind of risk averseness has always been there. We didn't have that kind of ecosystem. Slowly that is building. So now we are, you can say that we were behind the curve compared to countries like US. But now a lot of product startups are emerging from India. One notable example is like Zoho. They are a product company from India, and they are doing incredibly well. They are not listed, so we don't see the valuation, but by any estimate, their valuation is huge. I mean, whatever parameters you put, their valuation is huge, and they are trying to build an LLM. So different companies are trying to build India LLM as well. Like Ola came up with Krutrim LLM. There have been attempts going on. Tech Mahindra is also trying to build an LLM. But of course, we have been a primarily IT services country, not a IT products country.
Thanks for answering this and being mindful of the time. I think the discussion would open a next, a chain of questions, and probably we have our next session when we have our next session, particularly around supply chain, and we can talk more about technology. For now, I would like to thank both of our panelists, Manish and Colonel Bana. Thank you so much for your time, and all the attendees for being present and patient and participative. We would be sending a link with few engaging questions because this is a discussion, which leads to another, level of discussion and more engagement. There'll be a survey link that will be sent, and if you have any questions still that are not answered, you can send them to the host ID. With this, I would wrap up the session, and thank you so very much, everyone, for your participation. Looking forward to see you all in our next engaging conversation. That will be around HR, human resource management. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Megha.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gosh, thanks.
Arun
Thanks,
Bharat.
everyone.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you all. Oh, we're closing the session. Okay, thank you. Good night.
Thank you.